back to another Mindful Whispers ASMR video. I am returning to my Wikipedia rambling videos just for this one. For some weird reason in the algorithm, Family Guy content that I make, specifically ASMR Family Guy content, seems to be doing well in the algorithm. And we all love the algorithm. So I think I'm just gonna very lightly and gently and calmly ramble while reading this Wikipedia page. And you can listen if you're interested and you culturally want to learn more about the show. But I think that most likely many of you will just kind of naturally tune out. Maybe get some nice and restful sleep. So without further delay, let's start. Family Guy is an American animated sitcom created by Seth MacFarlane for the Fox Broadcasting Company. The series premiered on January 31st, 1999, following Super Bowl 33, with the rest of the first season airing from April 11th, 1999. The show centers around the Griffins, a dysfunctional family consisting of parents Peter and Lois, their children Meg, Chris, and Stewie, and their anthropomorphic pet dog, Brian. Set in the fictional city of Quahog, Rhode Island, the show exhibits much of its humor in the form of metafictional cutaway gags that often lampoon American culture. The family was conceived by MacFarlane after he developed two animated films, The Life of Larry and Larry and Steve. MacFarlane redesigned the film's protagonist, Larry, and his dog, Steve, and renamed them Peter and Brian, respectively. MacFarlane pitched a 15-minute pilot to Fox in May of 1998, and the show was greenlit and began production. Family Guy's cancellation was announced shortly after the third season had aired in 2002, with one unaired episode eventually premiering on Adult Swim in 2003, finishing the series' original run. Favorable DVD sales and high ratings from syndicated reruns since then convinced Fox to revive the show in 2004. A fourth season began airing the following year on May 1st, 2005. On April 2nd, 2025, the show was renewed for 4 additional seasons on Fox. Family Guy received generally positive reviews during its first 7 seasons. Since then, the series has received criticism for a perceived decline in quality. In 2009, it was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy Series, the first time an animated series had been nominated for the award since The Flintstones in 1961. In 2013, TV Guide ranked Family Guy as the ninth greatest TV cartoon. The series has also garnered considerable amounts of criticism and controversy, ranging from storylines, character stereotypes, and violence to allegations of racism, homophobia, and misogyny. Many tie-in media based on the show have been released, including Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story, a straight-to-DVD special released in 2005, Family Guy, Live in Vegas, a soundtrack DVD combo released in 2005, featuring music from the show as well as characters and music created by McFarlane and Walter Murphy, a video game and pinball machine released in 2006 and 2007 respectively. Since 2005, 6 books published by Harper Adults and Laugh It Up Fuzzball, The Family Guy Trilogy, a collection of 3 episodes parodying the original Star Wars trilogy, a spin-off series, The Cleveland Show, featuring Cleveland Brown, aired from September 27th of 2009 to May 19th of 2013. Family Guy moved to Wednesday nights beginning March 6th, 2024, marking the show's first weeknight airings since 2002. On December 27th, 2024, it was announced that the series would be moving back to Sundays and would air at the 8 p.m. time slot. This would mark the first time Family Guy airs at the 8 p.m. time slot since the episode Brian's Got a Brand New Bag aired on November 8th, 2009. Following the 2 Hulu specials in late 2024, the remainder of Season 23 premiered on February 16th of 2025. On April 24th, 2025, it was announced that Family Guy would air as part of Fox summer programming lineup and would move to Thursdays. The summer premiere began on May 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern and concluded on July 17th, 2025. On May 16th, 2025, it was announced that Season 24 would premiere in spring of 2026. Premise. Characters. The show centers around the adventures and activities of the dysfunctional Griffin family, consisting of Father Peter Griffin, a bumbling and clumsy yet well-intentioned blue-collar worker, his wife Lois, a stay-at-home mother and piano teacher in early episodes, who is a member of the affluent Pewter-Schmidt family, Meg, their often bullied teenage daughter, who is constantly ridiculed or ignored by the family, Chris, their awkward teenage son, who is overweight, unintelligent, unathletic, and in many respects a younger version of his father, and Stewie, their diabolical, adult-mannered infant son of ambiguous sexual orientation, who is an evil genius and uses stereotypical arch-villain phrases. Living with the family is their witty, smoking, martini-swilling, sarcastic, English-speaking, anthropomorphic pet dog, Brian, although he is still considered a pet in many ways. Recurring characters appear alongside the Griffin family. These include the family's neighbors, sex-crazed airline pilot bachelor Glenn Quagmire, deli owner/mail carrier Cleveland Brown, and his wife, Loretta, later Donna, paraplegic police officer Joe Swanson, his wife Bonnie, their son Kevin, and their baby daughter, Susie, neurotic Jewish pharmacist Mort Goldman, his wife, Muriel, and their geeky and annoying son, Neil, and elderly child molester, Herbert. TV news anchors Tom Tucker and Diane Simmons, Asian reporter Tricia Takanawa, and Blackie weather meteorologist Ollie Williams also make frequent appearances. Actor James Woods guest stars as himself in multiple episodes, as did Adam West prior to his death. Setting. The primary setting of Family Guy is Quahog, a fictional city in Rhode Island that was founded by Peter's ancestor, Griffin Peterson. McFarlane resided in Providence during his time as a student at the Rhode Island School of Design, and the show contains distinct Rhode Island landmarks similar to real-world locations. McFarlane often borrows the names of Rhode Island locations and icons, such as Pawtucket and Buddy Cianci, for use in the show. McFarlane, in an interview with Providence's Fox affiliate, WNAC-TV, stated that the town is modeled after Cranston, Rhode Island. I don't need to read the entire episode list. Well, I'll spare you from that. Let's move down to production. Development. McFarlane conceived Family Guy in 1995 while studying animation at the Rhode Island School of Design. During college, he created his thesis film titled The Life of Larry, which was submitted by his professor at RISD to Hanna-Barbera. McFarlane was hired by the company. In 1996, McFarlane created a sequel to The Life of Larry titled Larry and Steve, which featured a middle-aged character named Larry and an intellectual dog, Steve. The short was broadcast in 1997 as one of Cartoon Network's premiere world tunes. Executives at Fox saw the Larry shorts and contracted McFarlane to create a series titled Family Guy based on the characters. Fox proposed that McFarlane complete a 15-minute short and gave him a budget of $50,000. McFarlane pitched the completed demo short to Fox on May 15, 1998, which featured the first appearance of the Griffin family. The first 7 minutes of the pitch pilot, which had a storyline parallel to the pilot that aired on television in January of 1999, would be included in Family Guy DVD sets. The full 15-minute pitch demo remained lost until it was uploaded to the internet by Robert Paulson on his personal website in 2022. Despite this, the pitch demo was not discovered by the public until March of 2025. Several aspects of Family Guy were inspired by the Larry shorts. While McFarlane worked on the series, the characters of Larry and his dog Steve slowly evolved into Peter and Brian Griffin. McFarlane stated that the difference between The Life of Larry and Family Guy was that Life of Larry was shown primarily in my dorm room, and Family Guy was shown after the Super Bowl. Family Guy was originally planned to start out as short movies for the sketch show Mad TV, but the plan changed because Mad TV's budget was not large enough to support animation production. McFarlane noted that he then wanted to pitch it to Fox, as he thought that it was the place to create a prime-time animation show. Family Guy was originally pitched to Fox in the same year as King of the Hill, but the show was not bought until years later, when King of the Hill became successful. After the pilot episode of Family Guy aired, the series was given the green light. McFarlane drew inspiration from several sitcoms such as The Simpsons and All in the Family. premises were drawn from several 1980s Saturday morning cartoons he watched as a child, such as The Fonz and the Happy Days Gang, and Rubik, the Amazing Cube. Renewals. On January 26, 2023, Fox announced that the series has been renewed for seasons 22 and 23, taking the show through the 2024-25 television season. Season 22 premiered on October 1st, 2023. Season 23 premiered on February 16th, 2025. On April 2nd of 2025, it was announced that Family Guy would be renewed for 4 more seasons in what is considered a mega deal with parent company Disney. This renewal will take the show through the 2028-2029 television season, which coincides with the 30th anniversary of the show's launch in January of 1999. Additionally, each season will consist of 15 episodes. Executive producers. MacFarlane has served as an executive producer throughout the show's entire history. The first executive producers were David Zuckerman, Loli Aries, David Pritchard, and Mike Wolfe. Family Guy has had many executive producers in its history, including Daniel Palladino, Caravallo, and Danny Smith. David A. Goodman joined the show as a co-executive producer in Season 3 and eventually became an executive producer. Writing. The first team of writers assembled for the show consisted of Chris Sheridan, Danny Smith, Gary Janetti, Ricky Blitt, Neil Goldman, Garrett Donovan, Matt Weitzman, and Mike Barker. The writing process of Family Guy typically starts with 14 writers that take turns writing the scripts. When a script is finished, it is given to the rest of the writers to read. These scripts generally include cutaway gags. Various gags are pitched to MacFarlane and the rest of the staff, and those deemed the funniest are included in the episode. MacFarlane has explained that it normally takes 10 months to produce an episode because the show uses hand-drawn animation. The show rarely comments on current events for this reason. The show's initial writers had never written for an animated show, and most came from live-action sitcoms. MacFarlane explained that he's a fan of 1930s and 1940s radio programs, particularly the radio thriller anthology Suspense, which led him to give early episodes ominous titles like Death Has a Shadow and Mind Over Murder. MacFarlane said that the team dropped the naming convention. MacFarlane said that the team dropped the naming convention after individual episodes became hard to identify and the novelty wore off. For the first few months of production, the writers shared one office, lent to them by the King of the Hill production crew. Credited with 19 episodes, Steve Callahan is the most prolific writer on the Family Guy staff. Many of the writers that have left the show have gone on to create or produce other successful series. Neil Goldman and Garrett Donovan co-wrote 13 episodes for the NBC sitcom Scrubs during their 8-year run on the show, while also serving as co-producers and working their way up to executive producers. Mike Barker and Matt Weitzman left the show and went on to create the long-running and still ongoing adult animated series American Dad. MacFarlane is also a co-creator of American Dad. On November 4th, 2013, it was announced that Barker had departed American Dad during its run as well, after 10 seasons of serving as producer and co-runner over the series. During the 2007-2008 Writers Guild of America strike, official production of the show halted for most of December 2007 and for various periods afterwards. Fox continued producing episodes without MacFarlane's final approval, which he termed a colossal dick move in an interview with Variety. Though MacFarlane refused to work on the show, his contract under Fox required him to contribute to any episodes it would subsequently produce. Production officially resumed after the end of the strike, with regularly airing episodes recommencing on February 17th, 2008. According to MacFarlane, in 2009, it cost about $2 million to make one episode of Family Guy. During his September 2017 AMA on Reddit, MacFarlane revealed that he had not written for the show since 2010, choosing instead to focus on production and voice acting. On May 12th of 2023, it was announced that the showrunners of Family Guy, including Seth MacFarlane, would temporarily leave the show as a result of the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike. They returned to the show on September 27th, 2023, once the strike was declared to be over. Voice cast. Seth MacFarlane voices 3 of the show's main characters: Peter Griffin, Brian Griffin, and Stewie Griffin. Since MacFarlane had a strong vision for these characters, he chose to voice them himself, believing it would be easier than for someone else to attempt it. MacFarlane drew inspiration for the voice of Peter from a security guard he overheard talking while attending the Rhode Island School of Design. Stewie's voice was based on the voice of English teacher Rex Harrison. So, I apologize, I'm quite tired. Let me try that again. Stewie's voice was based on the voice of English actor Rex Harrison, especially his performance in the 1964 musical drama film My Fair Lady. MacFarlane uses his regular speaking voice when playing Brian. MacFarlane also provides the voices for various other recurring and one-time only characters, most prominently those of the Griffin's neighbor, Glenn Quagmire, news anchor Tom Tucker, and Lois's father, Carter Pewterschmidt. Alex Borstein voices Peter's wife, Lois Griffin, Asian correspondent Tricia Takanawa, Loretta Brown, and Lois's mother, Babs Pewterschmidt. Borstein was asked to provide a voice for the pilot while she was working on Mad TV. She had not met MacFarlane or seen any of his artwork and said it was really sight unseen. At the time, Borstein was performing in a stage show in Los Angeles. She played a red-headed mother whose voice she had based on one of her cousins. Seth Green primarily voices Chris Griffin and Neil Goldman. Green stated that he did an impression of the character Buffalo Bill from the thriller film The Silence of the Lambs during his audition. Mila Kunis and Lacey Chabert have both voiced Meg Griffin. Chabert left the series after the first season because of time conflicts with schoolwork at the time and her role on Party of Five. When Kunis auditioned for the role, she was called back by MacFarlane, who instructed her to speak slower. He then told her to come back another time and enunciate more. Once she claimed that she had it under control, MacFarlane hired her. Archival recordings of Lacey Chabert's voice that she provided as Meg Griffin are used in the 10th season episode Back to the Pilot, in which Brian and Stewie go back in time to the events of Death Has a Shadow. Mike Henry voices Herbert, Bruce the performance artist, Consuela, the greased-up deaf guy, and until 2021, Cleveland Brown. Henry met MacFarlane at the Rhode Island School of Design and kept in touch with him after they graduated. A few years later, MacFarlane contacted him about being part of the show. He agreed and came on as a writer and voice actor. During the show's first 4 seasons, he was credited as a guest star, but beginning with Season 5's Prick Up Your Ears, he has been credited as a main cast member. On June 26, 2020, after 20 years of voicing the character, Mike Henry announced on Twitter that he was stepping down from voicing Cleveland, stating persons of color should play characters of color. On September 25, 2020, it was announced that Arif Zahir would take over as the voice of Cleveland. Other recurring cast members include Patrick Warburton as Joe Swanson, Jennifer Tilly as Bonnie Swanson, John G. Brennan as Mort Goldman and Horace the bartender, Carlos Alizraki as Jonathan Weed, Adam Carolla and Norm MacDonald as Death, Lori Allen as Diane Simmons, Phil Lamar as Ollie Williams, and Judge Dignified Hugh Blackman and Kevin Michael Richardson as Jerome. Fellow cartoonist Butch Hartman has made guest voice appearances in episodes as various characters. Also, writer Danny Smith voices various recurring characters such as Ernie the Giant Chicken. Alexandra Breckenridge also appears as many various characters. Adam West appears as the eponymous apologies, I'm so tired. Mayor Adam West until his death in 2017. Episodes often featured guest voices from a wide range of professions, including actors, athletes, authors, bands, musicians, and scientists. Many guest voices star as themselves. Leslie Uggams was the first to appear as herself in the 4th episode of the first season, Mind Over Murder. The episode Not All Dogs Go to Heaven guest starred the entire cast of Star Trek The Next Generation, including Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden, Michael Dorn, Will Wheaton, Marina Sirtis, and even Denise Crosby playing themselves. This is the episode with the most guest stars of the 7th season. Folks, I think I'm going to call it there. I've been messing up certain sentences, and my voice is getting a little tired. You can hear how raspy it's getting. But like I said, the only reason I did this is because I like the rambling videos that I get to make while reading on Wikipedia. But I also really enjoy, I do enjoy making the Family Guy content, even though that seems to be the only thing that makes my channel perform well. So, if there's anything else that you would like to see me try or attempt, or any critiques you have, please let me know in the comments. Or maybe you can even just leave a comment if you want to say hi. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's going on in your life. I'd love to chat. But I think the best possible case scenario right now is that you are sound asleep, relaxed, and in a peaceful state of mind. And it is with that hope that I wish you